Oh, it's definitely evolved, right? I think just social media itself has helped us. But at the beginning, I was literally beat-footing it on the ground and visiting these dog stores in the small
Uh-huh.
town.
Uh-huh.
We fit very well into like the boutique kind of store that you'd see in every small town. On a light note, I think my biggest lesson is nothing is going to go as planned. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we definitely faced some challenges. This was our first time kind of outsourcing, so we had a lot of learning along the way. And I
Hmm.
think the best decisions that we've made was reaching out to people that we already knew that had a little bit of education in this space.
Hey guys, before I start the podcast, a quick introduction. My name is Warnith and I'm the founder of Pet Axel Marketing. Pet Axel Marketing is a marketing agency that specifically works with pet businesses. Over the years, we have worked with pet food brand, pet relocation businesses, pet SaaS companies, pet clothing brand, cat food businesses, dog grooming services, and many other product and service-based pet businesses globally. Our services includes everything from creating graphics to running your ad campaign. Not only that, we have built amazing websites and apps for pet businesses. So if you have a pet business and would like us to help grow it, click on the first link in the description to book a call with our team. Now enjoy the podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pet Brand Podcast, where we dive into the stories, insights, and strategies of the most innovative pet brand founders. I'm your host Waneth, and today we have a very special guest joining us. Lisa Freeman is the founder and CEO of Chelsy Toys, a brand that's dedicated to creating durable, engaging, and enriching toys that strengthen the bond between pets and their owners. So, in this episode, we will talk about Lisa's journey as a founder, how she built a brand from scratch, the story behind her patented 3-in-1 enrichment tube, and her strategy for marketing, scaling, and creating meaningful experience for pets and their humans. Lisa, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of the Brand Podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Uh-huh. And to start, Lisa, about your journey, like, can you share what inspired you to create Chelsea's Toys back in 2006?
Well, my inspiration was Chelsea herself.
Okay.
There are some
Yeah.
people that like to call me Chelsea because of the name, but that was my inspiration, was my pity Chelsea.
Wow.
So in 2006, she was about 8 to 9 months old, and she was kind of ripping through all the toys that I was buying her. So I've always been a crafty kind of person. So I went to the stores and I kind of just started making her toys myself.
Hmm.
So she was my true inspiration.
Yeah, yeah. And building a business from a DIY solution, it can definitely be challenging, right? So looking back, like what do you think, like what would the biggest obstacle you faced in turning your idea into a real functioning company?
Yeah, I think the hardest part of that was kind of testing the market to see if there was a market out there for me,
Definitely, yeah.
especially at the time because it was a DIY. I didn't know if the market was there for me, but my husband encouraged me to test it, and we did. And
Mm,
there were
mm.
people that were in need, just like Chelsea.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
what point do you think you realized was there what specific moment you realized that Chelsea's Toys now could grow into a full-fledged brand?
Well, in 2008, so between the first 2 years of business, I did a lot of art shows and dog
Wow,
events.
wow.
And I did a dog event. I set up my booth, I set up my tent, and there was a store that set up right next to me called Wet Nose. And Sheila came over to my booth and she immediately fell in love with my toys. And she
Wow.
asked me if I sell wholesale. And of
Okay.
course, I said yes, right? And then I went home and Googled all about it. And so I
Okay.
think I realized that I could potentially grow this. I could
Yeah.
grow this into more than standing behind a booth, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Love it. And after all those years, like what had been the most rewarding part of building this company from scratch and seeing it flourish?
Honestly, I think social media kind of did great things for Chelsea's Toys because we were immediately able to see our customers.
Mhm.
And that wasn't as obvious in 2006 when we first started. It was harder to connect with your customers and like the photos of your customers to kind of get those into
Hmm.
your media and to show other people that you have you have satisfied customers. So I think social media it was an enlightening part of Chelsea's Toys journey.
Hmm. And what do you think, like, what's the most rewarding part of building this company?
The dogs.
Okay.
I love dogs. I
Uh-huh.
love being with dogs. I tend to remember dogs' names over their humans' names. But I love the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Just the whole pet industry is where I need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
dogs definitely they thrive on engagement, right? But not all toys offer enrichment. So from your perspective, like why is enrichment and interactive play is so important to a dog's well-being?
When you actually start implementing enrichment into the dogs' lives, you notice there's more engagement between you and your dog, and there's more activity going on. There's more challenges that present themselves. You build upon all of the little changes that you start making for enrichment, and you start noticing a difference in behavior. It's a slow process, but it can be very rewarding.
Yeah, yeah. And also, safety and durability are like key pillars for your products, right? So, how do you
Yeah.
ensure that every item meets these high standards before it reaches in the hand of customers?
Well, we do a lot of research on the raw materials. I use fleece for my dog toys because of several different material functions that it
Mm.
presents. Fleece is very tear resistant, and it's a great material for my product, but it's a difficult material to present online as fleece being durable. When you think of fleece, a lot of people tend to immediately go to soft and fuzzy blankets.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very durable product, and more so, it's very washable. And I think that's one of the qualities a lot of my customers, my human customers, like.
Yeah, yeah. And one of your standout product is definitely the 3-in-1 enrichment tube. So like, what inspired the creation of this multifunctional toy and like how did the idea came about?
Well, the tug toy was the original kind of invention back in 2006.
Uh-huh.
And when we were kind of in that 2018-19 area with COVID, we came up with a lot of innovations. And that's where snuffling presented itself. So we wanted to add some more products to our line, and we designed and created the snuffle ball. And those two products stood out in our lines, and they're my best selling ones.
Yeah.
So wanted to get this into some packaging, so for like shelf stable kind of packaging. And because my tug toy is made of fleece, I wanted you to be able to touch it
Yeah.
on the while it was in its package. So we created a hole for you to be able to touch the toy and feel its durability. So
Wow.
that year, I wanted to do something more with that hole in the
Yeah.
package. And so we added two more holes on the back and turned the packaging into a treat dispenser. So that's where the
Okay.
third product of the bundle kind of
Uh-huh.
evolved.
Love it, love it. And feedback from pet owners, it can definitely shape the evolution of the product, right? So how do
Yeah.
you gather the insight from the customers and like incorporate those into your future iterations?
Well, I have very close customers. I've developed a little community of dog
Wow,
accounts
wow.
on Instagram that we work with.
Mhm.
And so I'm constantly sending out innovative products to see what they test as. So if you would, I have my own little test market.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And talking about the marketing and the brand growth. This is a section about marketing and brand growth. Okay. Every brand start with the first customer. Like, so how did you market Chelsea's toys in the early days, and how did you get your, first batch of like customers? Like, how has your marketing approach evolved over time?
Oh, it's definitely evolved, right? I think just social media itself has helped us. But at the beginning, I was literally beat footing it on the ground and visiting these dog stores in the small
Uh-huh.
town.
Uh-huh.
We fit very well into like the boutique kind of store that you'd see in every small town.
Yeah.
So that's where we would go and give free samples, talk about the brand, talk about Chelsea and where the brand came from.
Mhm.
And that's where these stores enjoyed the product because there was a story behind it.
Yeah.
And so we held on to our story, and our story is all about Chelsea.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And in
So now,
today's, yeah, yeah.
yeah, now social media kind of catapults all that,
Uh-huh.
right? And we're now able to kind of reach more people without being on the ground and walking
Mm,
and traveling. So that
mm.
has really helped our outreach for our wholesale customers.
Definitely. And trust and loyalty are definitely essential for any brand, right? So how do you build and maintain these qualities, especially when new competitors are constantly are trying to enter the market? How do you stand out among other players?
It's about your community. I think that's something that we've always tried to maintain is reaching out to our customers, both retail and wholesale, and
Mm,
making sure they're satisfied, making sure their needs are met, and offering them, more innovative products that they can trust.
yeah. This section would be about Lisa, sales, distribution, and scaling. Scaling a business comes with its own set of challenges, right? So you move from handmade toys to now partnering with ethical manufacturers. What lesson did you learn during this transition?
On a light note, I think my biggest lesson is nothing is going to go as planned. So
Yeah, yeah.
we definitely faced some challenges. This was our first time kind of outsourcing, so we had a lot of learning along the way. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the best decisions that we've made was reaching out to people that we already knew that had a little bit of education in this space.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Being a small business, it's incredibly hard to know everything, right? So, reaching out to other professionals and people that, may have come before you and getting their best advice really helped us out during this journey.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing that a lot of people get confused with is the pricing. The pricing and positioning are obviously it's very critical for premium brands, right? So, can you share any tips on how to price pet products to reflect the quality while also making them like while remaining accessible to the common users?
I think pricing is difficult for any brand. You have to kind of find that sweet spot. So there's always that general kind of start formula and how much it costs versus how much you want to sell it for, but it also has to meet the needs of your customer. So we wanted to keep us on that quality side, but yet offer a little bit of discount because I think everybody is attracted to some sort of discount and they think it's it not a privilege, but more of maybe a little bit of
Yeah,
self-worth, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
So
Mm,
um we played around a little bit during the first 6 months of the launch of this tube. We did a lot of our initial marketing on Amazon,
yeah.
and that audience really determined and helped us kind of find our price point.
Wow, wow. And also expanding into wholesale and retails, it definitely requires a specific strategy, right? So, what approaches have helped you successfully grow these partnerships?
Well, the approaches are still kind of in progress.
Okay.
We do plan on hitting some of our industry kind of conventions next year,
Mhm.
and trying to introduce this to more of on a distribution level. But that's where we're headed. We are ready with inventory and able to kind of scale now with our importing.
Mhm. Lisa, this section is about customer experience and community building. So, Chelsea's Toys gives back to animal welfare organizations. So, why is supporting this cause so important to you, and how has this shaped your entire brand identity?
Well, rescue is in my heart. So
Wow.
I've done a lot of rescue volunteer in my time during Chelsea's Toys, and all of our dogs have been rescued. So I find that it's very rewarding for me to help dogs. And, there's a lot of dogs with medical issues. And
Mhm.
I think that's where we're going to start venturing into bringing in our donations.
Wow.
But we're always open to new ideas and new avenues for our donations. So I want to start there, and then we'll probably expand into um, more beneficial,
Yeah.
type of funding for dogs.
Definitely. And last question from my end, Lisa, looking ahead, what do you think, like, what's next for Chelsea Style? How do you see the future of pet enrichment evolving as a whole?
I'm excited. Once we get this enrichment tube kind of launched off, I have ideas for several more.
Yeah.
The whole enrichment kind of bundle idea is really attractive. I know there is a very high need for cat toys, so
Okay.
I think it's going to
Uh-huh.
be my next little innovation.
Hmm.
And then snuffling. We did a lot of innovation with snuffling, so I can't wait
Wow.
to bring those products back and
Hmm.
add them to a bundle.
Love it. Love it. And guys, that brings us to the end of another episode of Pet Brand Podcast. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your incredible journey.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Uh-huh. A story of building Chelsea's Toys from a personal need into a brand that enriches the lives of dogs and their owners is definitely amazing. And to our listeners, I hope you find this conversation as valuable and actionable as I did. So, if you want to learn more about Chelsea's Toys, check out their website and follow Lisa's work. I will leave all the links in the description below. You can check it out from there. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm Varnit, and I will see you in the next episode of Pilgrim Podcast.